Step 4, according to a WBTV source, a missing woman's car has been spotted at the scene of an ongoing death investigation. Thanks so much for joining us. First at 4, I'm Kim Anderson.
And I'm John Carter. A source tells WBTV Frezja Baker's car has been found. We told you she was last seen Thursday when her family suddenly lost contact with her.
You got to be real heartless. You got to be a heartless individual to do something like that. Never seen it Tuesday, never seen it Wednesday. I did notice it yesterday morning when I came home from the grocery store. The car was back there. I can't believe it. It's really heartbreaking. I'm still in disbelief about it.
A gray-blue Honda Accord sat silent behind an abandoned church in West Charlotte. Its windows fogged, its driver unresponsive. Inside was 31-year-old Frezja Baker, a devoted mother who just 8 days earlier had kissed her 2-year-old son goodbye, promising to return. She never made it home. And the man charged with her murder? He'd already served time for shooting someone in the chest while standing over them, sentenced to 12 to 17 years, yet walked free after just 2. If that doesn't make your blood run cold, I don't know what will. If you're already feeling that pit in your stomach and you want justice for cases like Frezja's to stay in the spotlight where they belong, do me a favor right now. Hit that like button, subscribe to Crime Lab Report, and smash that bell icon, because every notification you get is another story that refuses to be forgotten. Missing out means these victims stay silent longer than they should, and we can't let that happen. Let's talk about who Frezja Baker really was, because she deserves more than to be just another headline. Born July 22nd, 1994, Frezja was the kind of person everyone wanted in their corner. Her father, Freddie, described her as sweet, kind, lovable, the type who would literally give you the shirt off her back if you needed it. Her best friend, Wesley Winchester, called her a friend of privilege and honor, saying she was elegant and classy. But above everything else, Frezja was a mother. Her 2-year-old son was her world, and everyone who knew her could tell you that. She called that little boy every single night before bed. Without fail, she took him to dentist appointments, dropped him at her grandparents' house when she needed help, stayed in constant contact with her family. That routine, that predictability, that devotion, it's what made her disappearance so immediately terrifying. December 4th, 2025 started like any other day for Frezja. She took her son to a dental appointment that morning, being the attentive mother she always was, then dropped him off at her grandparents' place. Around 10:30 that night, she called her brother Fred to let him know she was an hour away from home. But Frezja Baker never arrived. Her brother would later say something that cuts right to the heart of who she was. "My sister never came home. She always come home to check on her kid. If she don't come home, she'll call to check on her kid." That night, there was no call, no text, nothing. Her friend and stylist Peaches Johnson knew something was catastrophically wrong almost immediately. Frezja called her son every single day, every single night before he went to sleep. When those calls stopped, when the messages went unanswered, when social media went silent, everyone who loved her felt it in their bones. Her god-sister, Ty, put it simply, it is not like her not to hear from her at all. The last confirmed sighting placed Frezja at a mobile gas station on LaSalle Street in Charlotte around 9:52 that evening, just 90 minutes before she called her brother. Surveillance footage captured her wearing a black long-sleeve Panthers shirt with white and blue lettering, dark leggings, white shoes, carrying a black purse with a gold strap. Witnesses later claimed they saw her at a cookout restaurant on West Sugar Creek Road that same night. She was driving that gray-blue 2004 Honda Accord with temporary South Carolina plates. And then, like a ghost, she vanished. Her family didn't wait for the police to tell them what to do. They hit the streets immediately, and I mean immediately. Fred Baker, Frezja's brother, along with her parents, her Aunt Yvette Swanson, friends like Peaches Johnson, and community members started plastering Charlotte with missing person flyers. They drove through neighborhoods, checked dead-end streets, searched anywhere someone could hide a car. They even expanded their search into parts of South Carolina, desperate for any sign of her. Can you imagine that helplessness? Knowing someone you love is out there somewhere, and you're just driving around hoping, praying you'll spot that gray-blue Honda? Meanwhile, back at her grandparents' house, Frezja's 2-year-old son kept asking for his mommy. He'd see her picture on the television news reports and point, saying, "Mommy." Think about that for a second. This little boy watching strangers on TV talk about his mother while she's missing. That image alone should make you understand why cases like this matter so much, why we can't just scroll past them. December 12th, 2025, 8 days after Frezja vanished. A call came in to Charlotte Mecklenburg police around 9:35 in the morning. Someone had found a vehicle behind an abandoned church on Sanders Avenue, right at the corner of Campus Street, just off Beatty's Ford Road. Officers arrived at the scene and found Frezja's Honda Accord. Inside, unresponsive and lifeless, was Frezja Baker. She was pronounced dead at the scene. The location? Less than a mile and a half from that mobile gas station where she'd last been seen alive. She'd been there the entire time, hidden behind that abandoned church while her family desperately searched for her. Now, here's where your anger should really start building. Police immediately classified this as a homicide investigation, but they wouldn't release the cause of death. They said it was pending autopsy results, which is standard procedure. But that silence left everyone wondering what exactly happened in those final moments. What we do know is that investigators quickly zeroed in on one person, 38-year-old Lorenza Thomas Inman Jr., who went by the online name Campatouch Nuna. And trust me, that username is about to feel like the most disgusting joke you've ever heard. Inman wasn't just some random person. According to arrest warrants, he and Frezja had been in a dating relationship. He was the last person seen with her. And when her family reached out to him during those 8 agonizing days, she was missing, asking for help finding her, begging for any information. Inman refused to assist them. He also resisted police when they tried to talk to him. Let that sink in for a moment. The woman you're supposedly dating is missing. Her family is frantic, and you won't help? You won't cooperate? What does that tell you? The violent criminal apprehension team tracked Inman down about 100 miles southeast of Charlotte in Maxton, a small town in Robeson County. They arrested him and charged him with murder, assault on a female, and misdemeanor crime of domestic violence. He was thrown into Mecklenburg County Jail with no bond, which means the judge took one look at this guy and said, absolutely not. You're not going anywhere. But here's the part that's going to make you want to throw something. Lorenza Inman wasn't some first-time offender who maybe made a terrible mistake. This man had a rap sheet that should have kept him locked up for years. Back in 2017, Inman followed a man to a Charlotte shopping center and shot him in the chest. Then, while standing over his victim, he fired several more times. Picture that level of cold-blooded violence. In February 2019, a jury convicted him of attempted first-degree murder, assault with a deadly weapon with intent to kill inflicting serious injury, and possession of a firearm by a convicted felon. The judge sentenced him to 12 to 17 years in prison. 12 to 17 years sounds serious, right? You'd think someone who literally stood over another human being and kept shooting would serve serious time. But here's the absolutely infuriating truth that I need you to really process. Jail records show Lorenza Inman served only 2 years before being paroled in 2021. 2 years for attempted murder, for trying to execute someone in a parking lot. How does that even happen? How does our justice system look at that level of violence and decide, 2 years is enough, let him back out on the streets? And it gets worse because you knew it would. In 2021, the same year he got out on parole, Inman was arrested for assaulting a woman. Domestic violence. The pattern was right there in front of everyone. He received a 2-year suspended sentence, meaning he didn't go back to prison, and was ordered to attend a domestic violence intervention program. Fast forward October 2025, just 2 months before Frezja's murder, and Inman was convicted of 2 more crimes: intimidating witnesses and habitual misdemeanor assault. Again, he got a suspended sentence and 24 months probation. Are you seeing what I'm seeing here? This man had multiple arrests, domestic violence convictions, probation violations, a history of violence against women, and he was still walking around free. Free to allegedly kill Frezja Baker. Now, as of right now, the court proceedings for Frezja's murder are still ongoing. Inman remains in Mecklenburg County Jail without bond, facing murder charges along with those additional assault and domestic violence charges. The prosecution is building their case, gathering evidence. preparing witness testimonies. We don't have trial dates yet. We don't have detailed courtroom proceedings to walk through because this case is still actively moving through the legal system. But what we can talk about is what this case represents and why the sentencing when it comes is going to matter more than just one verdict. Think about the chain of failures that led to Frezja's death. A violent offender serves a fraction of his sentence for attempted murder. He immediately reoffends with domestic violence. He gets chance after chance, suspended sentence after suspended sentence, probation instead of prison time. And then a 31-year-old mother who called her son every night before bed ends up dead in her car behind an abandoned church. When Immon's case finally goes to trial, when that jury deliberates, when that judge hands down a sentence, they're not just deciding his fate. They're sending a message about whether we as a society actually protect domestic violence victims, whether we take violence against women seriously, whether someone's previous attempts to kill matter when they're accused of finally succeeding. Frezja's family is now raising her 2-year-old son, the little boy who still calls out for his mommy, who hollers, "Mommy, Mommy," and looks around for her, but Mommy's not there. Her father, Freddie, lost his sweet, kind, lovable daughter. Her brother, Fred, lost his sister, who always came home to check on her kid. Her best friend, Wesley, lost someone whose friendship was a privilege and an honor. The community of Charlotte lost another woman to violence that maybe, just maybe, could have been prevented if the system had done its job the first time, or the second time, or the third time Lorenza Immon showed everyone exactly who he was.
It's the most horrific thing you could hear, as just being in the community. Not even, I'm sure the family is going, emotional in this sense, because to hear that your family member has been found in a car, that's truly sad.
So here's what I want you to think about. Really sit with this. How many chances should someone get after proving they're willing to take a life? What does it say about our justice system when a man convicted of attempted murder walks free after 2 years and immediately starts a pattern of domestic violence? And the hardest question of all, how we look at Frezja's 2-year-old son and explain why the system failed to protect his mother when all the warning signs were flashing red. If this case has affected you, if you're angry, if you want to see justice not just for Frezja, but for every victim let down by a system that keeps giving violent offenders second and third and fourth chances, share this video. Comment your thoughts below because we need to have this conversation. Subscribe to Crime Lab Report if you haven't already, because keeping these stories alive, keeping the pressure on, that's how change actually happens. And check out our other videos where we dive deep into cases that demand answers. Frezja Baker deserved better. Her son deserves better. We all do.